So an upfront, after all of that work that Michael did, an upfront thank you to Michael Stern, our former Aventura Vice Mayor and partner of Stern Blue Media, for handling all. And today it's getting even more complicated. Today, all of our technology for today's meeting. We do have a great program today, and we have a moderator and outstanding panelist that will get started in 1 second. We've partnered today with the Florida Restaurant and Lodging Association, and want to thank Rosita, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, Rosita Mabubi, for working with us so closely.
Good job.
Rosita, the way I understand it is that there are two of you that want to say hello to each other. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's you and Lynn Hernandez. Am I correct?
Very good. That is. I am in Broward, and my friend and colleague, I don't see her on here, but Lynn Hernandez is with Miami.
Lynn, are you there?
I am here. I don't see myself either, but we welcome everyone and very happy to partner with everyone on this.
We appreciate both of your times for today's program. I also, right before we get started, I want to welcome our sister chambers and all of their members that are joining us today on this. We have South Dade, Key Biscayne, Hollandale Beach, Dania Beach, Hollywood, Coconut Grove, and our very special organizations that we've partnered with recently, the Greater Miami and the Beaches Hotel Association and the Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau. I do not, Michael, did you say Elaine is on or not on?
Yes, she is. She's
she is Elaine, I know that Enid had a meeting, the mayor, before this. So do we want
She's
to
not here.
move right in?
Not here now.
Okay, perfect. So then our meeting sponsor today is Ray Ramirez from the new Aventura Hilton. We want to thank Ray and Linda Santaruz for their support always with these programs and what we have today, and especially since we're talking about a new hotel and we're talking about travel today. So what I understand are pictures, as we say, are worth 1,000 words. So I think, Michael, you have a quick intro here to Ray and the hotel. Am I correct?
I have a video intro, and I'm about to play unless anybody wants to, Elaine, we're going to play the video.
Go forward, Michael. Let's go right into it.
All right. You can see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay. Gary?
Problem with the screen.
Yes, we're gonna have to, I'll have to load the video again. The connection, there's too many people on here. My speed is, my computer is starting to crash. So I need you to come back to, I'm gonna fix it while you guys go on to the next one.
So let's do this. Why don't we go right into, why don't we go to Ray, and Ray, while Michael's doing that, give us the update on the Aventura Hilton and the introduction of our moderator today, and then we'll catch up on your advertising piece. How's that?
That sounds like a plan. Thank you, Gary. And again, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So afterwards, we will show the video of the property, so you can see all our updates and then what the hotel is going to look like. In the meantime, the Hilton Aventura is very proud to sponsor this meeting with such a distinguished panel and moderator, Jane Wooldridge. Jane is an award-winning journalist who currently serves as business editor for the Miami Herald. She also manages coverage of museums, visual arts, and Art Basel Miami Beach. A frequent moderator at professional meetings, she works on content-driven initiatives for the Herald, including live events. Prior to her current position, Jane spent a decade as the Miami Herald's travel editor. She is the current president of the Society of American Travel Writers and the past winner of the Lowell Thomas Travel Journalist of the Year. Jane, the program is all yours.
Great, I have the video. Thanks. I have the video ready. You want to put video real quick?
Sure, let's do the video.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, the sound is not working, but at least you get to see the video. It's just music in the background.
Ooh, looks great.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so I'll talk on it. That's our lobby area. And we're gonna have different check-in pods as well. The lobby is gonna be on the 7th floor of the property. So it's gonna have stunning views as soon as you check in into the hotel. We're gonna have a full-service restaurant as well. There, as well as the executive lounge. So we're gonna have an executive lounge on the property. And we're gonna have over 15,000 square feet of event space. So it's gonna be one of the larger event spaces in Aventura. We're going to be catering the meetings. The main meeting space for events is going to be on the 1st floor. So it's going to be, very convenient. There's an example there. That's the grand ballroom, and all that whole area opens up. So you can, easily have very large events. We have 5 ballrooms that just open up, including the pre-function area. And the hotel itself, I mean, I like to say it's going to be a Hilton on steroids. I mean, it's really going to be, we're really going to be touching on luxury and really to the next level. We're going to have all the check-in. You could do it through your Hilton app. You could, control the temperature of your room, the television, everything through your phone. So it's really going to be, high tech as well. And then we're also going to have a reserve, which is the upscale Starbucks on the property as well. And I think there's only like 10 of them in the world. So it's so definitely that's we're really excited about the hotel. It's going to open November 18th. And again, this is some more of the pictures. There's a picture of the rooms. We're also going to have suites and veranda rooms also, which overlook the pool. And it's just going to be stunning views. That's actually one of the rooms. That picture from that video there. Then the event space is also going to be on the 8th floor. There's going to be more event space on the 8th floor above. Too bad I can't hear the music, so. And it's centrally located, right in the heart of Aventura. We're steps away from everything. So again, my phone number is there. Anybody who has any questions, you can reach me. And my email is ronaldo.ramirez@hilton.com, and I'll put it in the chat as well. Thank you, everyone.
All right. And it's over to Jane.
So hi, everybody. I'm happy to be here with you today. And my background is greeting you from Iceland. I'm not currently in Iceland, but I have been traveling and I am in Maine. And so I can give and I did some traveling around Florida before everything got out of hand. And so I am happy to offer some first-hand reports. But we also have an incredible panel of experts. And I'm going to go through our list. I think you know them all, but just in case. Ina Lee is really an amazing, I hate to use the word legend because it always makes me feel like somebody's not with us anymore, but she earns that status. She's the owner of Travelhost magazine of Greater Fort Lauderdale, which now is in its 40th year. And she's long been very active on Fort Lauderdale Beach. She founded and chaired the Beach Council for the Lauderdale Chamber of Commerce. And she also founded Winterfest. That is the one thing I didn't know. So I'm really happy to learn that. Ali Soule is the chief of staff at Brightline. And Brightline is, as I think everybody knows, is our connector between the counties that keeps us out of our cars, something I'm all in favor of. Haydee Blanco is a longtime American Airlines employee. I think she's been at American almost as long as I've been at the Miami Herald. She's held a lot of different positions there, and currently she is the director of commercial sales planning and analysis for Mexico, Caribbean, and the Latin American division. And David Klein is the director of corporate sales for Avis Budget Group with responsibility for the Southeast US. And he, little brain burp there. is in Charlotte, North Carolina. I grew up in North Carolina, so I'm familiar with that corner of the world. And happy to see everybody today. We will take lots of questions, so feel free to put those into the Zoom group chat. If you're not a Zoom regular, I can tell you that I do approximately 12 to 15 Zoom meetings a week. And some days it feels like I do that many in a day. It's a pretty easy program if you're not familiar with it. So just pop your questions right into the Zoom group chat. I'm going to start with Haydee. Haydee, let's talk about air travel. Obviously, most of the airlines have cut back on their service. As I said, I'm in Maine, and I used to take one flight up to Boston, and that flight doesn't exist anymore because it doesn't make sense to run all those different flights when the demand isn't as high. But talk about what American is doing overall. I know you're requiring masks. Tell us more about what American is doing to both ensure safety and about its policies.
Thank you, Jane. Thanks for that. I'm on mute, right? So thank you, Jane, for that introduction. And first of all, I want to also thank Gary and Elaine for the opportunity to be with all of you guys this afternoon. And thanks for that question. Actually, we're doing quite a bit. I actually had sent over a slide. The visual is a little bit easier to work through, but no problem. We're doing a lot actually to build confidence and trust and peace of mind as we think about traveling and going back to travel. And I think one of the most important things that we're doing is really partnering with the Vanderbilt University Medical Center. We've created a travel health advisory panel with them, where a lot of our senior executives are sitting on that panel. And along with those doctors there, Dr. Tom Talbert and others at the university, they've been an amazing resource and truly experts that are providing us with the guidance and pretty much the guidance on, what are the things that are important for us to do in travel, and for your safety and for the safety of, of course, our team members. Just yesterday, we went ahead and mandated facial coverings. So masks must be worn for all customers who are over the age of 2. And we're taking it actually very seriously, Jane. Meaning if you don't want to wear your mask or you remove your mask, you will be placed on a no-fly list. It's that serious for us at this point. We're using EPA disinfectants. We're doing fogging. The fogging is done with electrostatic spray. It's done every 7 days, while it's something that doesn't really need to be done for every 14 days, but we're doing it every 7 days. It kills 99.9999% of the viruses, including coronavirus. It takes within 10 minutes, right? So super important, the fogging process. And I think one of the most important things that we've actually heard from Vanderbilt is that the HEPA filters that are on our aircrafts, all mainline aircrafts and some of our regional flights, are highly effective in filtering the virus, and specifically, right, the coronavirus, which is what we're addressing. The circulation of the air in the aircraft, and the refreshing of the air every 2 to 4 minutes is also very important. So all of those things are things that we're very focused in doing to improve the safety of airspace and travel.
So previously, I think you all had, and you may still, which is why I'm asking this question. Previously, you had a scenario where you were offering customers the ability to change their travel plans for free. And I think that offer is still good through the end of July. Is that correct?
So actually the offer is good through for bookings through the end of, I believe, July. is what I understood.
Yeah, I think it's that if you book by the end of July and you're
Correct.
traveling by the end of the year, that you can make changes for free.
That is
And,
correct. Yes,
yeah,
that
I
is
can tell you,
correct.
we've already had to take advantage of that in my household. So
Yes.
we're happy about that. If you're not traveling on American, and I know most of us do because we live in South Florida, other airlines are taking similar kinds of precautions on flights. Most of the issues have not been on planes per se. And of course, there have been limited issues related to air travel. But the policies do vary from airline to airline. And so for those of you who are thinking about flying, it is worth checking them out. Some airlines are not booking the middle seat, some are. And American is booking middle seats. I know this because I booked two edges and had someone in the middle. But it is a little different, but I think all the airlines are trying to take full precautions on all of the flights. Now, one of the things that I want to ask you about, because you are one of the people on this call who does international service. As I understand it, many of the Caribbean nations are reopening or have reopened to Americans. What their restrictions are depends on exactly where you're coming from. But Europe, it's still not quite ready to have us come back yet, is it?
No, and that's absolutely correct. They're not. And I think we're showing on the screen, just by color coding on the international side, what's opened, what's been completely restricted, and then what is partially restricted. Now, I will caution everyone, this changes on a day-to-day basis and probably,
Yes,
you know,
it does.
our you know, so no, not quite ready. We don't see us returning to Europe actually, or any of these long haul flights through the end of the year, probably into first quarter 2020. But I'd like to go back for a second, if it's okay with you, and address that whole middle seat issue, because you're right, we are not blocking that middle seat, and it has been a very sensitive topic, or I guess emotional topic for most people, and I get it. You know, we understand the concern. We're comfortable with the measures that we're taking and have put in place because of the relationship that we established with Vanderbilt and the guidance that we're getting from them. Look, they're in an airplane. It is absolutely just not sustainable to be able to social distance, right? And so if you book, okay, so if you don't book the middle seat, you still have to contend with the row in front of you and the row behind you. And so from what I'm able to understand, in order to really 6 feet distance the right way, we would have to, for every one customer, we take block 9 seats. Right, and so then that helps us to create that circular distance of the 6 feet. It's just not sustainable, Jane. I mean, we wish we could, just can't do it. And so
It's a business.
yeah, and so, you know, and Vanderbilt tells us this. They say, okay, what's important then? If you can't control the 6 feet social distancing piece of this, all right, well then you gotta do Uber up the cleaning, okay? You absolutely have to have spick and span beyond anything anyone could ever expect to kill all of the germs and viruses that are out there floating around, right? And so that's our focus. That is what we're doing.
Thanks for that update. So let's go to David, because I'm going to stick here for a minute with the theme of out of state, and then come back to in-state. So David, you are renting cars all over the place, I assume. And it's a tough time for your industry as well. I know one of your competitors recently packed it up, and you all are out there renting those cars. So here's the question. For people who aren't sure they're ready to get on an airplane, a lot of them want to rent cars. What kind of precautions are you taking at your company, Avis? And also, are there any, I doubt there are, but hey, a woman's got to ask, are there any special deals for one-way rentals at this point?
Yeah, that's a great question. And thank you to everybody for having us, by the way. And thank you, Elaine, as well, for extending the invite, and Jane for hosting. Yeah, the two topics there, right, is what are we doing right now to ensure the safety of our travelers? And I think what we are doing is, you know, both large and small. And a lot of the common things that you'll see at really any retail location that you'll go to, the plexiglass at the checkout counter, the social distancing area, you know, marks on the floor. But some of the larger scale things that we've done is recently partnered up with Lysol to really hone in what we're doing from a cleaning process to both use their products that are EPA certified to kill the coronavirus, and ensure that, you know, when we originally came out with a new cleaning process right when this all started, really be sure that the cleaning process we had in place is good enough to really meet the standards of a company like Lysol. Even going as far as to creating a medical advisory council, similar to what Haydee was just talking about with Vanderbilt. We have senior medical staff who are from Columbia University, Johns Hopkins, NYU, doing something very similar, right? Advising us on exactly how we should be cleaning our cars, making it safe for not just our customers, but our employees too. So it's cleaning the touch points, steering wheels, the air vents, the knobs, making sure that we are ensuring that our travelers are wearing masks if they have to actually come inside. But we're also doing just really anything small, any little thing that we think that could actually help. So something as small as when you go to the rental gate and you're exiting the facility, rather than rolling down your window to hand over your license, we now allow our customers to, and encourage them to, keep the window up, show us the license through the window. Seems small, but again, that's just another point of contact where we can avoid actual interaction, physical interaction. So it's something that we're continually monitoring. It's something that we're continually trying to improve at a corporate level. So in my space, working with corporate customers, something that our team is doing is trying to encourage our points of contact and our customers to utilize those features or services that we have that allow a shorter amount of time inside our facilities and can reduce any touch points, like making sure you skip the counter. You enroll for a profile ahead of time. You don't have to stop at the rental counter. That just limits the amount of time you're actually inside and around other people. So in terms of the one-way rentals, yes, we are offering deals. I think I have a flyer somewhere, but we are offering, and we did this pretty early on, special discounts on one-way rentals because it was especially necessary at the beginning when schools were closing, colleges were closing. So we waived our young driver restrictions, put out a lot of much better deals on one-ways because, you know, kids just had to get home. But yes, I'm happy to send that over to you.
Yeah, great. If you would post that actually in the group chat, that would be great. I've actually have had a lot of questions about that from travel writers and consumers. So we got some questions in the chat and we're going to come to you. Don't think that I'm ignoring you. But Allie, let's talk for a minute about trains. Now, Brightline discontinued its service in our region earlier in the COVID crisis in the spring. And what's the current thinking about when that might return?
Yes, so Jane, you're exactly right. We temporarily suspended service at the end of March, given the stay-at-home orders and following guidance from state and local officials and also from the CDC, because safety is our top priority. We announced in May that we were still temporarily suspended. As of right now, we have not announced a new timeline for resuming service, given the rising cases that continue in South Florida. But what we have taken the opportunity to do is to focus on accelerating our expansion efforts. So, you know, everybody looks at us also as that train that's one day going to go to Disney, which is currently slated for the end of 2022. So we're working with our phase 2 team to accelerate construction and delivery of that. We're also working on our Aventura station, which will start construction this summer, and then our station in Boca Raton. So while we are not operating, we are focused on when we will resume and what that ultimate service will look like.
And that's really great because I think you know, there are a few pluses to this moment in time. We published a story this morning about the fall off in driving traffic because more people are staying at home. And I have to say that in a normal course of events, getting from my home in Coral Gables to Aventura, I might as well fly to Boston. But right now I can actually get from one place to another really well. And so I'm sure that facilitates your ability to accelerate your construction projects because there's less of everybody everywhere.
Absolutely. It's also, to your point, less impactful, right, to the driving public. Again, safety is our top priority. So as part of our phase 2 effort, and similar to what we did in phase 1, every single grade crossing has to be reconstructed. So that means that intersection has to be closed, and it takes about 5 to 7 days, depending on the size of the roadway and the intersection. And so with less cars, it means less disruptions. In a lot of cases, schools are being held, you know, electronically or virtually. So again, we are trying to take advantage of it, to your point, to accelerate the construction and delivery of our project.
Well, for those of us who get in cars, thank you for getting it done while we're not in them. So that's terrific news. Thank you. And I have to say, on a personal note, so when you all were first launching, I was with a group of people and we had thought to take the train up to Palm Beach because we were going up to the Norton for a talk. And we looked at it and said, God, you know, that's a lot of money for poor people. Why don't we just drive? Okay, we missed the whole talk because of traffic. It took us round trip 5 hours to go to and from, because then we got stuck in some traffic mire on the way back. And we all said, you know, we should have taken the train, and next time that's what we're doing. So when things return to normal, I'm a convert now because I'm not doing that again. That was a bad decision on my part. So Ina, let's talk about what I think is a trend for everybody, regardless of where you live. But of course, we're all in South Florida, and that is real staycations. I know that if you're hesitant to get on a plane, if you aren't really into long trip driving, and I'll tell you that we've decided not to drive to Maine because I thought I would basically shoot my brains out. So we did some staycationing before we came up to Maine, stayed in a couple of places in the state of Florida. It was before the recent surge, and I'm wondering what kind of response are you hearing from local hotels, and what kinds of deals are you seeing? What's the feeling about what's the safest way to take a staycation?
Okay, well, I'll certainly will share that I had a personal staycation 2 weeks ago because the building I live in, Fort Lauderdale, the air conditioning was being worked on for 4 days. So I went to Lago Mar, which is right next door to me, and I felt safer there than I do in my own home. And I think that's what's going on with the hotels right now, with very few exceptions. The protocols that have been put in place, everything that's obvious, right, but way overboard. It's really safe to be in a hotel. If I might, Jane, I'd like to share some slides, Michael, if you would put them up, because I think this would give us a good indication of what's going on with tourism right now in general, and particularly with the sentiment of travel right now. Michael, if you could put that up, that would be great.
Yep, coming.
So, but for sure, staycations is what's happening right now. It used to be within 300 miles, and quite frankly, right now, it's really anyone that's around the corner from you. But these presentations from our Greater Fort Lauderdale Convention and Visitors Bureau, but they really are for all of South Florida and Dade County. Next slide, please. This gives you a sense of really what's going on in the market right now. Occupancy, hotel people in a room is about 51%. That's down almost 34% same time last year. Average daily rate, you asked about Jane about deals. There are lots of deals out there. You know, average daily rate in, and by the way, occupancy and date, I'm folding in those numbers too, is about 30% right now.
Yep.
Average daily rate right now in Fort Lauderdale is 131 and date is about 110, significantly down from what it would used to be. The number that the businesses rely on, the hotels themselves, is revenue per available room. That's $80. That's down almost 47%. And in date, it's really down to about 21. So it's really bad. Next slide, please. This really shows you what is going on. And I want to bring this home, folks, because we talk about numbers, but the people that have been unemployed because of this virus is tragic. In Broward County, over 28,000 jobs have been lost. In Dade County, that number is about 54,000. That's 83,000 people, folks. And they were laid off almost overnight. With many of them, now, yes, some management for sure, but a lot of people that relied on paycheck to paycheck, whether it's a housekeeper or a bell captain, they really had no resources. And trying to work through the unemployment system, which is a disaster in this state, has been really tragic. But those are human lives, folks, that have been severely impacted. Next slide. This is what's going on with top destinations that we're talking about, Ron. This is travelers' perception. Top destinations travelers would normally visit but will avoid in 2020. Florida is right up there at the top. That's not good news for us, folks. Next slide. Why? You'll see the next slide here. Because why they're unwilling to come here right now, this is from Visit Florida, is because our cases are on the rise. Every day, that's what you see, and you see it on national news. So even though we were starting to trend up, it is bottomed out again because our cases are surging. Next slide. And this is what you're seeing, and what all these questions are about is health and safety is paramount. People want to feel safe. And so all the protocols that are being put in place by airlines and hotels and car rentals, et cetera, they really are responding to this with extraordinary measures. So it really is safe. I'll tell you my own American Airlines travel story at the end of this because it's kind of humorous. Next slide. This is what Broward County is doing. People are taking the Safe and Clean pledge. And as a business, Travelhost has done it as well, as my whole staff has done it, but pretty much a lot of businesses up here, including 2 men in a truck. So it's not just hospitality related. And Dade County has a similar program. Next. This is put together, by the way, with Florida Restaurant and Lodging Association and the American Hotel and Lodging Association. All those partnered came together for safe and clean. That's what everyone wants right now. Next. Okay, so here are the obstacles. Why people, and this was actually done a few weeks ago, so it's even worse now. The factors that are in my building, there's a fire alarm going off. So it's not COVID related, but decisions impacting travel the next 6 months, the virus is right up there, number one, and now obviously with the economy. Next. What people are searching for right now are safe destinations, keep on going, and they want beaches. They don't want to feel that they're in, next slide, please. They don't want to feel constructed. They want beach destinations that have space where you can spread out, okay? And we do offer that in South Florida. Next. Now, this is what Dade and Broward are both doing. Right now, what we're all dealing with is a drive-in market, folks. So, and then after you'll hear, obviously when it's safe, people feel safe to get on an airplane again, then we'll all be going after air travel again, and then finally international, okay? Next. That's it. So to answer your question, Jane, tourism right now has been severely impacted. And when I mean by tourism, I mean restaurants, attractions, retail, everything. I Travelhost, I've been doing this for 40 years. I've gone through 9/11. I've gone through every disaster, hurricanes. Nothing is like this. And it's going to take, unfortunately, a couple of years to even begin to recover this. And people are not recovering those jobs. So that's what's really going on overall in the industry of tourism right now, which is the #1 economic driver for the state of Florida. not to mention Dade County and obviously Broward County and Palm Beach. So this is impacting everything in the state. All of a sudden, people realize how important tourism is, right? Unfortunately, you know, we've had a wake-up call. And I just, you know, every day I hear people's horror stories, and it actually brings me to tears. People that were working for companies for 40 years lost their jobs overnight, right? And now they can't even put food on their table. So what you all can do on this call is do a staycation, just like I did. Go to that neighboring hotel, or when the Hilton opens up in Aventura, or wherever you're located. First of all, you need this. You need the release right now. We all do, you know. And but it's also safe. I would rather be in a really well done hotel right now than staying in my condo building that just had a fire alarm go off, right? So so I think staycations, and by the way, that's the lifeblood of the industry right now. Everyone in this industry is relying on you all and the people you know to book a staycation, okay? So I know we only have like 3 to 5 minutes, Jane, but I wanted to give that overview because I think it's important for people to see that.
It's a great overview. Thank you for that, Ina. And I would say that from the reporting we've done at the Herald and all the studies that I see coming across my desk from SATW, they're predicting that it's going to be 4 to 5 years before tourism really rebounds. Obviously, cruising is not happening right now. All of the lines have announced that they will not restart cruising at least through the end of September. I know because we have reporters who do this every day that there are not yet protocols in place or an agreement with the CDC about restarting protocols. So while only one line, NCL, has said that it will remain offline through the end of October, I think that it's a pretty realistic scenario that many may follow that suit. And these jobs are critical to South Florida. I can't underscore that enough. Ina, you did a great job of saying that. We did a staycation when things had begun to slow down before the current resurgence. We had done a staycation to a small hotel in Sebastian. We chose a small place because that seemed a little safer. I don't know that it is, it just felt that way. And we were so impressed with the way things were handled. The people there got rid of all of the paper goods after each and every guest. And they did not bring new towels in, but they left them in a plastic bag out front so you wouldn't have someone coming into your room. Where we've been in Maine, one lodging we stayed in keeps a room empty for a day between guests. So I think for people who are still concerned, it's pretty easy to just ask what the scenario is in whatever hotel you're at.
Jane, if I might say, I want to give a plug to air travel too. And by the way, I fly American. So back in February, my son had 2 back-to-back surgeries in Reno. So I was quarantined in Reno up until June. And I finally said, all right, I got to get back home to South Florida because I was enough of, you know, I just needed to get back I was doing business anyway by Zoom. But I had seen that Singapore airline flight attendants were wearing hazmat suits. So I ordered one from Amazon. So I get on this airplane and everything, it was American Airlines, and everything I felt was very, very safe at the airport, etc. I had my hazmat suit on. By the way, I was the only one that was wearing one in all of my travel that day. But you know what? It kept people away from me. Talking about forced social distancing, they were afraid to get close to me. And then we landed in Dallas because that was a layover for 3 hours. Everyone pretty much without exception wore masks. And then when I got back to FLL, same thing. But I felt safe traveling on an airplane, and I would do it again. So I just wanted to share my hazmat story. Okay, a lot of people commented on it, right? But it got more a play on social media because what my staff did was put a big Travelhost logo over it, at least on social media. But you don't need to wear a hazmat suit, folks. Just make sure you're wearing your masks, okay? And wash your hands a lot.
Definitely wash your hands a lot, folks. I know we're going to go over time here, but we'll stick with this for a while longer because there are lots of questions. And so I'm going to pull some of these, and some of them I can actually answer, and some of them our experts definitely weigh in here. So we already talked about Brightline and when service is coming back, and the answer is we don't know yet. But another part of that question that someone had was, Allie, were you all able to receive PPP support and secure funding from Miami-Dade for additional stations previously announced, which would include Aventura and Boca Raton?
So good question. We actually did not seek PPP money. So that's, not something that we went after. But regarding our system, Miami-Dade County had previously approved in December funding the Aventura station. So that's been taken care of. What we are working with them now is, for decades, community leaders, businesses, residents have advocated for a tri-rail-like system on the East Coast. And since we are not operating service at the time, the county reinitiated some of those conversations with us. So we're currently in negotiations with the county on whether or not they want to access our right-of-way to implement a commuter rail service that would also terminate at the Aventura station and in downtown Miami, with potentially up to 5 additional stations between there. So the FIU campus on Biscayne could be a possibility, North Miami, Design District, Wynwood. So that is something that is currently in discussions.
So thank you for that. Someone asked, they had a book trip on Southwest and they changed the flights 3 times. Now you're going to miss the last day of the meeting. Is there a remedy for this? I will tell you that the answer is probably going to be no. Unless you took travel insurance, what happens with Southwest is they let you have free change of flights anyway. So you probably would not be able to get a refund for that, but I would tell you that there is a website called Elliott.org. It is run by Chris Elliott and the Elliott Organization. It is a consumer for all kinds of consumer issues, but it started in travel and it's very strong there. And it's 2 L's and 2 T's, I believe. And you can always send a note there and see what they can do for you. Question about RVs. David, I know you guys don't rent them because I know who does. I have done this. Renting an RV is actually a great thing to do. You're sort of like being a turtle. You take your own self everywhere with all your goods. There are a couple of major agencies that do it. Let me give you one hint that I wish someone had told me. And that is that unless you take a package that includes this, you are expected to bring your own sheets and towels. This is not like going to a hotel. And we actually had to make the giant Walmart run when my family did this. And then of course we had all these sheets and towels at the end of the trip thinking, what do we do with these? So we dropped them at Goodwill. But RVing is actually huge this year. There are a couple major agencies that handle them. Cruise America is one, and RV Monty is another. And there are also some in South Florida that do that. And you can also camp. Camping's coming back big. Now, if you're like I am, I used to think that this was a great thing, and now I'm thinking that flush loos within near proximity are a really great thing. So I'm less into camping, but if you have an SUV, you can actually buy a tent that goes over your SUV, the back of your SUV, and makes a larger space. We investigated this at my household, so we know a little bit about that. There was a question about traveling with dogs and pets. And yes, you can. I have. Our little boys go places with us, and Haydee answered that for American, and most of the airlines are still allowing pets to travel on board, there are size restrictions. And in fact, we bought dogs that would fit the size restrictions because we didn't want to have to deal with that. David very graciously has produced his one-way coupon. Thank you for that. I think my family may be using that. And there was also a question about conventions and meetings. I'm not finding it immediately, but I did see that. And Ina can probably jump in a little bit on this, and so I think can Ray, but we monitor this in the travel organization that I'm the president of. Society of American Travel Writers is the largest travel communication organization in the country. And highly qualified. We have qualification standards, unlike some of the other organizations. But we have seen that obviously pretty much everybody canceled all the meetings for 2020. Some bookings are coming back in 2021, but I think people are a little hesitant to book before fall of 2021. Once you get into the fall of 2021 space, though, it's really difficult to get onto books at many properties. I know we've been negotiating for a while, and that's been something of a struggle. What are you seeing, Ina?
Yeah, so unfortunately, the convention and meetings business will be the last to come back. That kind of is the same thing with international air travel right now, and it's a big impact on the industry because of, even if you're not a meeting convention hotel, the compression on the whole market when we lose a major convention is major. Now in Foresight, our Greater Fort Lauderdale Convention and Visitors Bureau is closed down right now because it's under major construction now. That was a good time to do it. You know, we weren't planning on a virus when we closed it down to expand it and put an on-site hotel. And that's going to be opening in the next 2 to 3 years. The first phase will be the expansion of the current convention center. But unfortunately, that whole sector and how to travel and do all of those pieces and that, I know in Broward County, we brought in a panel of some experts and really got their input. And they put together a white paper, anyone that's interested in that, because they really said what they were looking for, what they're concerned about, what they're afraid of in terms of, their constituents feeling safe to go to a major convention or meeting right now. So Jane, that's accurate right now. Unfortunately, that's going to be a little bit further down the road here.
Yeah, I'm afraid that is the case. There was another question here that says, if you leave Florida, you have to quarantine for 14 days. Is that correct? The answer is it depends on where you're going. Every state has different requirements, and those requirements change every afternoon about 4 o'clock. To be a little flippant, but not incorrect, actually. So right now, obviously, if you're coming from a high COVID rate state, and that's going to be Florida, there are a lot of restrictions in place for many of us. Here in the state of Maine, for instance, we had 2 choices. We exercised both, actually. One is quarantining for 14 days, and the other is getting a COVID test within 72 hours of arriving in the state of Maine that proved negative. We actually had already done that. We are lucky because we have a house here, and so that made it easy for us to come here. Whether or not anybody's checking whether or not you are quarantining depends on where you are also. In Maine, you have to file an affidavit, say anytime you go into a hotel, but nobody else is going to stop and ask you. In New York, they are actually requiring now paperwork when you come off the plane. I think that's correct, Haydee. Is that right?
Yes, for New York?
Yep.
That's correct.
Okay. So, it does vary, but what I will say is you can travel. This is not the don't travel department of the universe. This is the you can travel and you can do it safely. And yes, you need to be smart. Yes, you need to wear that mask. We went somewhere where no one was wearing a mask and we weren't running out because that's not okay with my scenario. And I don't think it's fair to the other people in the room either. But you can do it, and you can do it close to home if that's your best choice. You can go to a park, you can go to a hotel. There are a lot of things that you can do. Michael's just come back from a trip to Arizona, and you know, the outdoors is definitely everybody's favorite place to be these days. And if you could stand the 14-day quarantine, I'd say Maine's a great place to be. But for my money, stay close to home and give the money back in our community where all of us need it. Not just us, but all of our friends and neighbors, they need the support. And so that's my 2 cents worth. And I don't see any other questions. And so Elaine, I'm assuming you're ready to wrap up maybe.
Elaine, you have to unmute. Unmute, Elaine.
Okay, yes. One thing on that Southwest question, the question was that Southwest had changed the flights 3 times.
Right.
So there was no remedy for that.
Probably not. That's probably not going to be a remedy there because they're going to give you a travel credit no matter what, and you can use it however and whenever you want. But I would, Elliott.org is the place to check that out.
All right. All right.
To your part, Elaine, I have a JetBlue flight scheduled on the 15th of August, which has been changed 3 times as well in the last 2 weeks. And originally when I booked it a month ago, there were 5 flights going, 4 flights coming back. And now I am down to 1 flight going and 1 flight coming back. So yes, things to Jane's comment change every single day.
All right. Well, with that said, Gary, I think we're ready to wrap up. What a
All
great
right.
panel.
So
what a great
there's a tremendous amount of information everybody heard today, and I think some very key points to remember, some very key observations. But I think the topic today, at the end of it, if you were to kind of wrap it up, Jane did at the end where she said you can still travel. Let's support our local hotels and resorts and operations. I think that is no truer or more valuable today, if you will. I was over at Turnberry Country Club this morning for a few minutes and talking to them about occupancy and you know what they're looking at. And for them, thank God that the water park, for you that are familiar with it on the call today, thank God for the water park, because that's what's drawing their crowd, keeping open, obviously, because of being Dade County and having no restaurants, interior restaurants open. So let's just continue to support those that need our support right now. So that being said, thank you to Jane, Aina, Ali, Haydee, and David for providing a tremendously valuable program for today. Thank you to the Florida Restaurant Lodging Association, our participating organizations that I mentioned earlier, and our meeting sponsor today, Ray Ramirez from Aventura Hilton. That being said, unless Elaine or Michael have anything else, I wish you a very happy and safe, wear your mask day. Be safe over the weekend with our impending storm that's coming. And thank you to everybody.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good job. Good job.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.